Just getting back on the road from stopping to get something for breakfast. I am No Limb Jim, and welcome to the channel. I'm somewhere in Mississippi right now. Using a new microphone that we got a couple weeks ago, and I'm not sure if it's actually working for live stream. So if somebody could go into the chat and say, hey, you can hear me, or no, you can't, that would be great. So I am on my way to the Abilities Expo in Houston, Texas right now. And I'm not sure if it's actually working for live stream. So if somebody could... No, it is working. I can hear myself. Or no, you can't. That would be great. Interesting. So I am on my way to the Abilities Expo. So I'll turn it down. Now I can't hear myself. Okay. So heading to the Abilities Expo, I'm driving by myself. That is made possible by a series of events that got me back into the driver's seat. So I was with, when I got out of the hospital in April of last year, my fingers were still dead, hard and black, necrotic, and I could barely get around, roll over in bed. Sorry, I'm looking at my directions here. I could barely roll over in bed. I didn't think I would ever be able to even get in a car, much less drive a car again. But give it a few months, and got to where I could climb in and out of the Suburban, thanks to Barb at Physical Therapy and Balance Centers in DeLand, Florida. And she and Michelle taught me how to climb back into the Suburban. And then a nice lady named Lori Belush, who owns a business called Ride Independent Driving Evaluation and Rehab in Palm Coast, Florida. She came and taught me how to drive with hand controls, which I'm using right now. And I will do a video about those. They're called Featherlight, and they're real easy to use. They have a button that you can push for city, which makes the controls not as squirrely, to where when you pull on them, you don't take off like a rocket. Like excuse me, right now I'm in the squirrely mode, so I'm having to be real light on the throttle. I think I'm in Iberville, Mississippi, it looks like. That may be where I am, somewhere along I-10. I stopped to get some breakfast. And Beverly says, the mic's working. Thank you very much, Mom. And yeah, I did hear myself a little while ago. So last night in a hotel, I stayed in a hotel called True by Hilton. It's one of their lower price brands, actually. And they're kind of nice for disability, for people in wheelchairs, because the floors in the rooms are all tiled. You don't have to push through really thick carpet to get around in the room. And they have they're sparsely furnished. So there's a lot of room around the bed that you can maneuver your wheelchair. This room was an ADA mobility accessible room. And, okay, here's I-10. I'm going to get back on I-10 here. Headed west towards New Orleans right now. So it was an ADA accessible room, and it had a shower. It was a roll-in shower with a bench that was fairly sturdy, didn't fall off of it. That was nice. I've been in hotel rooms since losing my legs where the bench was barely connected to the wall, and I was afraid I was going to fall out. And the handles for the controls for the water were right there next to the bench as well, which was rather thoughtfully laid out. However, there were a couple problems. The door to get into the room, they make these hotel doors nowadays with closers to close the hotel, the door. And I know they do that for security reasons, but this door was so hard to push open that I could barely get in. In fact, when I had my suitcase going in the room, the worker from the hotel, the front desk worker, came down the hall, and they saw me struggling, so they helped me get into my room, which was nice. All right, so the GPS is telling me I've got about 50 or 60 miles to keep driving straight. And I'm right at the exit for Jefferson Davis's childhood home, according to the brown sign here. So somewhere in Mississippi. So anyway, the door is really hard to get into. And then something that I hadn't thought of, because it hadn't happened to me before, was the toilet. So it was an ADA accessible toilet with the bars around it. But if you don't have legs, and when you need to clean yourself and you kind of have to lean over, and the toilet seat is made out of cheap plastic, it wants to fall off. I ended up on the floor last night trying to get on and off the toilet. So that's something that I think the ADA needs to deal with. Hey Phoenix, how are you? Nice to see you in here. It's been a while. I haven't made any videos in a while. So let's talk about what I'm doing. I am heading to the Abilities Expo in Houston, Texas. Don't know what to expect. I've heard great things about it, and I've heard bad things about it. People who have been in the past have raved about it. One of the vendors that I hoped was going to be here is not going to be here. Didn't speak very highly of it, but we'll see when we get there. I'm planning on doing some videos from there, doing some live streams, and showing people what's there. So we'll see. That starts tomorrow, and it's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Then I'll start heading home on Sunday. Going to stop by and see my friend Matt in Texarkana. I went to high school with Matt. We've been friends since 1984. It's been a long time. Coming on 40 years. Wow. A long time. So we've known each other. See him and meet his wife, who I haven't met, and then head back home. And then later in the month, I'm going to be heading to the Huntsville, Alabama Ham Fest, the ham radio convention, to show off the products that we make with our Shack in the Box company. And if you're interested in finding out about that, you can go to shack-in, that's I-N, -a-box.com. Shack in a box with minus signs in between each word.com. And you can see what we do. We build amateur radio go boxes and solar generators. Phoenix says she gets to get her leg adjusted today. I got one leg. I don't know who's watching or who knows. Before I lost my Medicaid coverage at the beginning of May, Sunshine Health, the managed Medicaid company that I was with, finally approved my right leg. They spent about $22,000 on this leg, and I'm not allowed to wear it because I'm not allowed to stand on one leg. I need two. They denied the left one but gave me the right one, which is just an insane waste of money. Absolutely insane that they would do that. They spent a year and a half almost denying stuff. And finally they're like, hey, we're giving you your leg. And they gave me one leg, which I can't use. So I'm thinking I might make a lamp out of it. Maybe, like those lamps. I might make a lamp out of it. We'll see. If I do, I'll make a video about it. I don't know what Beverly is saying. No, I did not get the other leg. Beverly, I did not. They denied it, and then I lost my Medicaid coverage, and I haven't had health insurance since May 1st, or 11:59 p.m. on April 30th. So I haven't had Medicaid or any medical coverage in a while now. So as we drive along here, I'll try to think of things to say. It's a beautiful day here in Mississippi, and I've made this drive dozens of times. This is the first time I've made this drive heading west out here with no limbs. So we'll see what it's like to stop and get gas with it being Texas heat, which I imagine is probably going to be about like Florida heat, which is pretty miserable to get out and get gas when you're standing on your knees with your face right next to the gas pump with no fingers, but you do what you need to do. And Beverly, Mom, no, I did not get Pat's number. So every now and then I can look over here and see the chats, but only when it's safe to do so am I doing it. So I'm excited about going to the Abilities Expo. I don't really know what to expect. I'm hoping that there are some ideas on some things of how to overcome obstacles, how to get mobility back with assistive equipment, or just ideas of things to try that I haven't thought of. I'm going to be posting some videos here in the next day or so of some tools that I've designed so that I can do the work with Shack-in-a-Box that allow me to hold the screws to the panels that I need to do. They're kind of cool. I 3D printed them and used real strong rare earth magnets on them. Cops got somebody stopped here. So I'll post some videos about that. I'm hoping that I can see some stuff in the Abilities Expo that will give me some ideas. I don't think I've done a video about it yet, but I did find a motorized, actually Michelle found it, a motorized traveling wheelchair. They say it can go on a plane. We'll see. It's a lightweight Jazzy Select Elite wheelchair. And there was somebody at Best Buy the other day when Michelle was there. Something's making strange noise. Best Buy. Michelle was at Best Buy and somebody was there. And she got talking with the people, and they mentioned that they had a brand new Jazzy Select Elite wheelchair that they'd be willing to let go for significantly less, about 10% of the original cost. So we were able to get that, and then we were able to get a wheelchair lift to put on the back of the Suburban, so it will pick it up and carry it on the back of the Suburban like a mobility scooter. And that is going to be how I get around down here or up here from Texas at the Abilities Expo in Houston. I'll be driving that around. It's got sealed lead acid batteries on it, which I'm not a fan of. We build the battery products using lithium iron phosphate batteries, and I've spoken to one of the battery manufacturers that we work with, and we're going to see about changing out the lead acid batteries to lithium iron phosphate, which will weigh less and have much more power storage that you can put in it, and will also last a lot longer than the lead acid batteries will. And then a cool project that I'm planning on doing is to retrofit that whole system so that it can be plugged into a solar panel when I'm deployed with, I guess I'm in Pascagoula. Um, so when I'm deployed with Aerobridge in disasters, I'll be able to keep the wheelchair charged by plugging it into a solar panel. So that'll be kind of cool. And I'll be making some videos about that. And let's see, use a smooth. I'm going to have to look at that. I will have to look at that and see. I'm hoping there's some travel wheelchair companies here at the Abilities Expo that I can look at. I know there's one called Fold and Go that I'm really interested in, and that one only weighs about 60 pounds and it folds up like a regular folding wheelchair does, and it's also rated to go in the rain and snow and go off-road with about 4 inches of clearance. So the Jazzy Select doesn't have much clearance, and it doesn't do a good job of going over bumps, but it's better than having no motorized wheelchair to go to conventions like we go to a lot of the Hamfest conventions for amateur radio, and it involves pushing myself around several 100,000 square feet of show floor, and over a period of 3 days it just gets really, really tiring. And our son Zechariah and I went to the National Business Aviation Association Business Aviation Conference and Expo in Orlando last year, and unfortunately the convention center had carpeted floor, and wow, talk about how hard to push. Great for walking on, but if you're trying to push yourself in a manual chair, having all right, so I'm just going to say, if anybody from Aerobridge is watching this, please stop texting in the group chat, because it is blowing my phone up and making me lose my train of thought. Anyway, trying to push around the NBAA convention was tough because of the carpet, and that's something that, you know, I used to always love to see carpeted floors in convention centers, and never thought about the fact that people in wheelchairs would really struggle to push themselves through that. I've been in a few hotels in the last couple of months when I took my son up to Cedar Rapids and back. Hotels that typically put the handicap rooms all the way at the end of the down at the end of the hallway, and I see why they do that, because they do it so that if there's a fire, you're close to the stairs and you can get carried out. But trying to push yourself through all of that carpet, let me move this mic up a little bit. Trying to push yourself through all that carpet is really rough. So, is this a place where I could share something about Faith Hannah and her trip? I could do that. So our daughter, Faith Hannah, just got back from Innsbruck. She did a semester abroad. She is a rising senior at Stetson University. She's 18 years old. She'll graduate at 19 with 2 degrees. She's earning a Bachelor's of Science in Molecular and Cellular Biology, and she's earning a Bachelor's in Business Administration in Management. And this trip that she did for the summer semester was, she took 2 management or business courses. I think they were both management, but they may have been, I think one may have been business psychology or something like that. Anyway, she just got back from several weeks in Innsbruck. Hey, it looks like we're going to be stopped on the interstate here. She just got back from several weeks in Innsbruck. Had a good time. She's finishing up her last paper, I think today and tomorrow. I think it's due tomorrow. So she got to go to Innsbruck, and then they did several side trips to Switzerland and Italy, Slovakia, Germany. I don't remember where else. And she is like me. She loves to travel. She loves to travel. Okay, so traffic stop, now I can read. carpet sucks for wheelchair. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. So anyway, Faith Ann is loving the travel. She is considering going on to graduate school. Not sure if she's going to want to do something in biology or go after an MBA. I'm going to be having dinner later this weekend with our nephew Spencer, who is a researcher in Houston at the medical center there, researching cancer. I forget which cancer he's researching. And we're going to talk a little bit about Faith Anna's options with her degree and pathways to a career or whatever she wants to do with the rest of her life. And then she and Spencer will get together and discuss things. Anyway, it looks like there is construction for the next few miles here. So if anybody wants to chat and ask questions, now's the time to do it, because I can safely look over at the chat window. While we're driving, I'm going to go on one of my handicap parking spaces rants. So, our local Walmart in Palm Coast, Florida, recently had their parking lot was resurfaced, and then they had new lines painted on it. And the people who painted the lines on it really messed up the handicap parking spots. They are nowhere near wide enough to be ADA compliant, and there are far fewer than there used to be. There's not enough spots to be compliant with ADA for the number of spots that they have in the parking lot. And the spots are so narrow that they're really hard to park in. They're actually a little bit narrower than the spots that are normal spots. And they made some van spots that are way too big, like that have 30 feet of space behind them, which is a lot more than you need to be able to get in and out of a van. But now that we've got the wheelchair carrier on the back of the Suburban, kind of need a spot like that to be able to take the wheelchair off and not have the ramp poking out into traffic, blocking traffic, possibly getting hit, things like that. So we actually made use of one of those spots the other day as we were shopping day before yesterday. And as we were leaving, this lady, she did have a handicap pass, and I say lady very tongue-in-cheek. She pulled right behind me, like really close to the ramp, as we were getting ready to pull out, so that she could get my spot before anybody else. And she was getting impatient as I was getting in the car or in the truck and getting buckled and getting situated to drive safely. And I got quite a bit miffed by it, actually. So she didn't have a wheelchair. She was in a regular car parking in a van accessible space, which legally she's allowed to do. I get it. People tell me all the time, you can't see the disabilities. I get it. But you can see if somebody needs a wheelchair space or not. And people who take these big wheelchair spaces that don't need them are total jerks, especially since there were two other spaces right next to where she had parked that were handicapped, and a couple spaces that weren't handicapped. So I backed up and I rolled down my window, and I thought I was being nice about it, but Michelle and the kids said I sounded a little upset. I said, really those spots are for people who have a wheelchair and have a ramp to be able to get in and out of the wheelchair. And she's probably 65, 70 years old, and just keeps giving me the middle finger. Wouldn't say anything, just giving the middle finger. Guys, if you have a handicap placard, they're like this. I got one, you probably have one. If you don't need the wheelchair spot, don't take the spot. If there's a spot next to it that's just as accessible, if you don't need that room to be able to get a wheelchair in and out of your vehicle, don't take it. Do not take it. It's not fair to the people who actually need the spot. At the hotel last night, I had to park on the street and then get out and walk in the street on my knees, walk to the back of the truck, lower the wheelchair down, get the cover off of it, get my stuff out of the truck, because all of the handicap spots were taken, while there were like 7 or 8 regular spots right next to them, right next to the front door, that were open, and people with handicap placards were parked in them. And every one of those people this morning, when they went out to their car, was not in a wheelchair. All of them parking in wheelchair accessible spaces. The hotel was not full last night. There were plenty of spaces to park. But I get it. Your doctor wrote you a prescription for a handicap placard. But if you don't need a wheelchair, why do you need to park in a spot if there's one right next to it? That's my rant. I'm going to keep ranting about it because I think you guys are total assholes when you do that. And I didn't think about it before I became wheelchair bound, but wow. I never used handicap spots that, a lot of people park there. Oh, I'm just running in to get my takeout order. Oh, I work for DoorDash. I'm going to run in and get this from the restaurant and then go deliver it. Don't worry about it. I'll be right back out. That's happened a lot. One time, a guy with a handicap placard parked right next to my vehicle in the hash marked space that is made for getting a wheelchair in and out. And I was like, dude, that's really there for me to be able to get my wheelchair up so I can climb in my vehicle. Oh no, I got a handicapped placard. I can park here. I'm handicapped. I just don't get this entitled attitude. Mom, I can't give the bird, see? The entitled attitude that people have when it comes to things like this. I know there are people who have handicaps or disabilities that are not visible. I know there are people that can't walk 100 yards or 100 feet without assistance or needing oxygen. But I also see a lot of people using handicap placards who have no visible disabilities, who are bounding out of their vehicles and like running into Planet Fitness and doing a workout, parking in the wheelchair accessible spots. And to me, that's just really wrong. Just don't do that. It is getting hot here. 95 degrees. I've had the air blowing on the dashboard to try to keep my phone cold. Maybe I can put something white behind it here. The sun is beating down on the dashboard, so the phone will overheat a little bit, and that'll be the end of the live stream when that happens. So who all is in here? I see there's 6 people, and I've seen Phoenix and I've seen Beverly. Everybody else just chime in and say hi so I know who's in here. And if you have any questions, now's the time to ask them, because the GPS is telling me traffic's backed up for about 5 more miles. And I can read the questions and answer them. So is the microphone sounding okay? Does it sound shrill, or does it sound like a good microphone? It wasn't that expensive. It was only about $40, and it's a Wi-Fi microphone or a Bluetooth. I guess it's Bluetooth. And there's a little receiver that plugs into the bottom of the iPhone. And since I'm used to using television quality equipment, 40 or 50 bucks for a microphone is really cheap and scary. I've paid 20 times that or more for just a transmitter for a microphone. Mississippi is always pretty to drive through on I-10. I've always enjoyed this stretch of road between Mobile and Louisiana. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about the wheelchair that I got, the Jazzy Select Elite. So it uses two batteries. They're 30 amp hour 12 volt batteries. They're wired in series, and it makes a 24 volt 30 amp hour power system. Now with lead acid batteries, you can only use about half of the rated capacity before you need to recharge it. If you go any further down, you can mess up the batteries. I got a deal on that mic. That's good to hear. So you can only take it down a 30 amp hour system. You can use 15 amp hours out of it before you need to recharge it, or you're going to mess up the battery. With lithium iron phosphate chemistry, you can take 90 to 95% of that out. So in a 30 amp hour system, you could take 27 to about 28 and a half amp hours out of it before you need to recharge it. So on a single charge, you can go a whole lot further on lithium iron phosphate than you could on lead acid. They weigh less than half of the weight, so that's going to actually give you a little bit more distance that you can drive your wheelchair, because the motor is pushing along far less weight. And I'm going to sip some lemonade here while we are stopped. Just going to put the car in neutral and kind of coast. Chick-fil-A has got the best lemonade in the world. So anyway, when you recharge a lead acid battery, lead acid systems have about 300 to 400 charge cycles that they can have put into them, taken out of them, before it's time to replace them. Where lithium iron phosphate can have between 2 and 3,000, actually 2 and 5,000 charge cycles. And if you are, say you take a lead acid battery down 20% and fill it up, that counts as a full charge cycle. If you take 20% out of a lithium iron phosphate battery and fill it back up, that counts as 20% of a charge cycle. So the lithium iron phosphate batteries are more expensive in the beginning to purchase, but over the lifetime of a battery system, with one lithium iron phosphate battery, you'd have to replace lead acid batteries 4 to 5 times before you can start needing to replace a lithium iron phosphate battery. And the fact that you can take more juice out of the battery at once before needing to recharge it all combines to a cost per watt hour that you put into and take out of the battery system that is 85% less than the cost of a comparable system made out of lead acid. So when I found out that battery manufacturer that we work with Shack in a Box does have a lithium iron phosphate battery in the proper size container, and that the battery management system electronics that is installed with the battery can handle up to 4 of those batteries in series, we would have 2 of them. I got really excited because that's made me realize that not only would I be able to have a battery system that works better and would allow me to go further between charges, but when I deploy into a disaster area, if I do deploy with this wheelchair, I would be able to charge it with a 24 volt solar panel that I can carry with me very easily. So one of the videos that I'll be doing, I'll post it here, and I'll also post it on the hamradio.world YouTube channel, is the video of making that system and showing how it works or doesn't work, if it doesn't work. But I think it will work, and I'm excited about being able to work on that and come up with something that other people who are bound into wheelchairs, who may possibly live in areas where the power goes out a lot or live off grid, they want to have a power wheelchair. We might be able to design something for them that would enable them to use their power wheelchair and charge up the batteries with the sun or with wind power. Either way would work with the charge controllers that we use. So that's pretty cool. Speeding fines doubled. I don't think that's going to be a problem today. Oh. We're doing 15 miles per hour and the speed limit's 60. And you guys can't see it, but right next to me there's a Subaru Outback towing 2 cars behind it. Never seen anything like that. Towing 2 SUVs behind it. And the left lane is closed in a half a mile. Go up here and get in front of this guy. Or not. It's amazing how people will intentionally cut you off. You both come up on the sign at the same time that says lane ends. There we go. So let's talk about the hand controls. So a place called Access by Skip in Edgewater, Florida put them in for me, and he gave us a really good deal on the price. I don't know if we're still live or not. Phone shut down. Anyway, Skip gave me a really good deal on the price, and there were some people that knew us through ham radio who donated almost exactly the amount of money it would cost to put hand controls in the vehicles. And that enabled me to get back on the road and be able to free up Michelle to not have to take me, or the girls and Zechariah to not have to take me to doctor appointments and places. And now I can do things like this, be able to go to the Abilities Expo. I will be going to the Huntsville Ham Fest later in the month by myself. Need to go do that one on my own. And somebody in the chat just let me know that I'm still live, because the phone keeps saying that it's shutting down because of heat. So I will keep talking for a couple minutes and see if anybody says that the phone is still live or not. I'm totally stopped here in the highway and get some more drink. Okay, still good. It just keeps cutting off. I guess I'll put the blower back up on the dashboard and blow some cold air up there. One of the problems with trying to live stream with a phone in your dashboard in the South. So anyway, Skip installed Sure Grip Featherlight hand controls, and the left hand controls the throttle, and it also controls the brake. The throttle is electronically controlled, and the brake is physically attached to the brake through a rod that goes down. A rod goes down to the brake pedal. The featherlight means that when I pull back to make the car go forward, you pull back on the throttle. It's not nearly as tough as with some of them. There's a few different kinds. One of them you just you kind of pull straight back. This one you pull backwards and down, which works really nicely. But the coolest thing about it is that it has got a city mode switch, that when you hit the city mode, it makes the throttle respond a lot less sensitively than when you're on the highway. And so you can finesse into a parking lot and stuff like that. And I've driven now probably 10,000 miles with these, and it's second nature. The idea of pulling backwards on a throttle likens back to the airplanes that I've flown. Pull back on the throttle to make the airplane go faster. So pulling back on the throttle is pretty much intuitive anyway. But I don't think that I have felt as in touch with a machine that I've either driven or flown as much. I have to kind of get off the road here. I don't think I've ever felt as in touch with a machine, either driven or flown or used, as I am feeling in touch with this vehicle with these hand controls. And Sure Grip did a really good job with inventing these things, and Skip did a great job putting them in. He's a veteran and a really good guy, and I am very thankful to be able to be on the road and driving. Okay, so we're back up, whatever that was, supposedly construction, but there were no workers there. Getting back on the highway here. I am 60 miles from New Orleans. Well, guys, I think my phone's not too happy about being on and trying to live stream in the sun here. So I think I'm going to sign off for now. Now that I'm back up to driving speeds. And I plan to go live tomorrow afternoon from the Abilities Expo from the show floor, and watch for a live stream from there. Got to make sure that we have good internet, either through Verizon or Wi-Fi, and then I will let you guys know ahead of time. I'll do like today. I'll make a notice that I'm going to be doing a live stream soon. So for now, Neon 73. As we say in ham radio, 73, which means best wishes, and I'll talk to you next time. Now, before you go, please do like and share this video. Check out the GoFundMe down at the bottom. We still have lots of expenses with doctor bills and medicines and things like that. And please help the channel grow, because the channel, now the goal is to get the channel to where it can be monetized and it can start bringing in some income, like we do with the hamradio.world channel. If you're not already subscribed to hamradio.world, go over there and subscribe to that channel, please. And this truck is slamming on brakes in front of me. Go over there and subscribe to that channel. Subscribe to this one, like this video, share it, and ring the bell for notifications. And I will see you next time. 73. Now I got to figure out where the X is to be able to say goodbye. But I got to wait for cars to get away from me. So you're stuck with me for a few more minutes while we're waiting for being safe to hit the X button. Okay, I think I can do it now. See you guys later.